Good Monday morning. Hope everybody had a great week. Hope everybody had a great weekend. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers this past weekend, and to all the mothers that are watching the show. I hope you had a great weekend. Today on Daily Fix of Steelers, we had a question come in that typically what we normally do when it comes to our questions and our segments is that we answer them at the end of the segment. But this one here had a question that I believe that probably could have had its own segment. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to talk about this question. So the question for today comes from our YouTube subscriber, Innocent Until Proven Guilty. They asked, or they said, great show. And then they asked, with the new acquisitions of the quarterbacks, is Matt Canada on the hot seat? And I think, innocent until proven guilty, that's a great question. A lot of people think that because this is his second year at the head coach position, that he should be on the hot seat. I understand that last year he probably wasn't the best for the job when it came to our older quarterback. Ben Roethlisberger, he's a Hall of Fame quarterback. He's a great quarterback. We're going to see him again in Canton in a few years. But last year, he didn't, especially in the early on in games, he didn't play up to the standard that he has created for himself. And so because of that, Matt Canada took a lot of heat. After the season, Mason Rudolph came out at his defense, and a lot of people were saying that he was just kind of kissing tail, kissing up to the new OC, kind of saying that he was handcuffed, he wasn't allowed to do anything. Slash, he wasn't. How much can you do when you have a quarterback that's not mobile in an offense that's designed for mobility? And so, I kind of get where he's coming from in that instance. I understand uh, the concerns and whatnot. However, when you are limited and your playbook is only so thick or so deep, especially it being new, it's gonna look bad. It's gonna be predictable. It's gonna be what it was last year, in my opinion, at least. And so this year, Matt Canada doesn't have a an excuse, so to speak, the uh, when it comes to the offense and how it's going. Now, even if unless we have a colossal failure, even if we don't do very well, Kenny Pickett is Matt Canada's guy. And so if Kenny Pickett doesn't start this year and it's Mitch Trubisky, not saying that Matt Canada is going to have an excuse, because Mitch Trubisky is not the same quarterback as last year's Ben Roethlisberger. It can be said that Mitch Trubisky will probably be a better quarterback this year than Ben Roethlisberger was last year. So seeing an improvement this year, it should be. If we see some kind of digression or some kind of stagnant offensive play where it was very similar to last year, then perhaps that's when Matt Canada gets on the hot seat. However, given Mitch Trubisky's mobility, the mobility from Kenny Pickett, I highly doubt that we're going to be sitting in the bottom tier of the offense when it comes to our rankings. And so I don't think he's going to be on the hot seat this year. I think that if we don't do so well, they're going to first, if Mitch starts and the offense doesn't do well, they're going to give the rookie a chance. Now, they're going to give the rookie a chance, and they're going to give Kenny Pickett and the Matt Canada combo or duo a chance, a full year. And if Kenny don't start this year, then they're going to give him the full year next year. Now, if Kenny starts this year and it's still not there, he's still a rookie. It's still a rookie quarterback coming in. It's still a very new player. It's not a veteran player that's been in the league. He's been in a pro style offense, but not in a pro offense. There's some differences there. And so even if he comes in and he struggles and he's the starting quarterback, let's just say Mitch gets hurt, hopefully nobody does, but let's just say he does. And Kenny comes in and he struggles. It's not going to be the end for Matt Canada. They're going to give Kenny Pickett a full year and probably more than that with this offensive coordinator. And I think it's only fair. We don't want to end up like the Browns, where they're changing coordinators and offensive and coaches every year. That's how you end up with Baker Mayfield. And so we're not them. We're not going to do that. We're going to do things a lot differently. And we're going to give this young man the opportunity to prove himself. And I think Canada's going to do pretty good. I think, I'm not a big proponent or a big fan of college football. I don't watch it. I don't follow it very in depth like I do with the Steelers. So I can't say that, where Matt Canada has been, that I know for a fact that he's turn that offensive game plan around. I do know that there's a lot of talk about how Pitt offense was dynamic in 2016, and with Matt Canada there, and Matt Canada actually recruited Kenny Pickett, and so with those two things there, I think that we're going to be a lot better. I think that we were a little bit handcuffed last year. I know it's not a popular opinion, and a lot of folks that are fans of Ben Roethlisberger, which I am as well. I've watched that man play for 18 years, and it was heartbreaking to see him go. However, at the same time, football is an unforgiving sport in the essence where just because you begin to get older and your play begins to diminish doesn't mean that the play around you is. It's just going to pass you up. And so, not saying that Ben couldn't be a great or a good quarterback last year. He was, our offensive line was bad. It was really bad. And so we did some upgrades in the offensive line. So those are going to be things that'll help. But back to the topic at hand. With Matt Canada, we're going to see hopefully we're going to have more diverse running game. We're going to see more, creative ways to get the ball into Najee's hands, creative ways to get the balls into Calvin Austin's hands and the slot. We're going to do a lot of jet sweeps, which I know everybody's kind of tired of, but when you have like a George Pickens or you have a quarterback that can throw the ball down the field, you're going to have to back up those safeties. And in doing so, that's going to leave Najee and Calvin Austin in the middle or underneath to really make a living. And so I think we're going to be dynamic. I think we're going to surprise a lot of people. Our schedule isn't very tough like it was last year. We're not leaving the Eastern time zone from what I understand this entire year. And we're not traveling very far. So we have a very favorable schedule. We have a very, even though we have more road games than we do home games this year due to the uneven schedule, the majority of the games are close by. And so it's going to be a good year. I think we're going to be competitive. Retrospecting back to the draft and us getting the first quarterback overall, with Mitch Trubisky, we weren't going to be in a position to get the first quarterback picked off the draft next year. I don't think we'd be in position to get the top 5 unless we move up in the draft. And everybody knows how the Steelers love their draft picks. So it's very rare that we give them up to move up. The last time we did it was with Devin Bush. And, not to say that was wrong or Devin Bush was a wrong choice, but it does kind of give a bad taste in your mouth when the last time that you moved up was for a player that we didn't pick up their 5th-year option on. And so with that said, it would be, I could see the Steelers be a little bit hesitant before moving up. And so, but I digress. Back to Matt Canada. It's going to be a dynamic offense. We're going to have a great year. And it may be just hope. It may be just a fan's perspective thinking that, the best for his team and, we'll never lose a game. Because I've never once said that the Steelers would lose. To any game that we've ever played, I've always felt that the Steelers would win or come out on top victorious no matter who we played. And so I do have those fan goggles sometimes. But I think we're going to, logically speaking, given our offensive line is a little bit better, a quarterback can move, can create a little bit more time in the pocket. And we have some receivers now who are known to catch the ball. One of the things that kind of hinder us is the fade, so to speak, that Deontay Johnson's had in the last, since he's been in the league. And he had a fade last year at the end of the season. The year before, the entire season, he was just dropping passes. And so last year, that fade was real. Was it because of the extended length of the season, or could it have been possibly because he wasn't selected as a Pro Bowl receiver and he was considered snubbed up until he became an alternate and actually played for one of the I think it was Chase, who was participating in the Super Bowl. And so if it had not been for that, he wouldn't have been on a Pro Bowl team. And it just kind of seemed to me that after he was snubbed from the Pro Bowl, that his play wasn't the same. He had a little bit more drops towards the end. Now, I'm not saying this because of that. He was upset or whatever. Maybe his focus wasn't there. What I'm saying is that there was a fade at the end of the year, and it could be for various of many different reasons. But we can't afford to have those, especially in the biggest times of the year when it counts the most. Late in the season, in January and in December, those games are a lot more important than the ones in the beginning. And when you're fighting for position for playoff spot, or even if you're fighting for a number one seat, because let's face it, a lot of teams have come into the AFC North and I'm sorry, the AFC West and in the AFC Conference, and those teams in the AFC West are going to beat each other up. Us in the AFC North, we are in that same predicament, but I don't fear the Bengals or the Ravens like everybody else does, and the Browns are the Browns. Uh, Deshaun Watson's probably not going to play the entire year, and even if he does, if you look at the Houston Texans record before Deshaun Watson and after, it's virtually the same, and so he isn't this quarterback that's going to completely change the team. I think that they made a huge mistake in signing him as far as what they had to give up to get him. And I think they're going to see that in a few years to come. But for this upcoming year, I don't fear him. I don't think they're going to do that great. They have a great offensive line and a great running back, but their quarterback doesn't scare me. And so with that said, guys, I'm Daniel. This is State of the Steelers. Please follow us, hit that like, subscribe, and notification button. I know this is the second time around. I had a few viewers watch the first one. I need to go back and listen to these before I post them up. Make sure that the audio is great. But this one, I'm sure it is. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, share, and hit that notification button. Also, I am a season ticket holder. So after this Thursday, when the season gets released, I'm going to be choosing which games I'm going to be going to, and then I'll be selling the other ones. If you're interested in any of the tickets that we're selling, please email me at stateofthesteelers@gmail.com. Again, that's stateofthesteelers@gmail.com. You can also hit us up on Twitter at stateofsteelers. Message us here on YouTube or Facebook. Also, make sure to ask your daily question for us to answer it in the mornings. That way we can have a segment, something similar to this every day, and kind of just talk about the Steelers and kind of answer your questions and kind of get my perspective on things. Again, my name is Daniel. We're State of the Steelers. Look forward to it. Tonight, we should be having a live broadcast. We're going to be talking about the defense and the defensive holes that we have. Please join, ask your questions. It's a fun segment. Last Friday, we had a few people on, and it was great interacting with everybody. And I hope to have something similar tonight and every Friday night. Thursday, we may go live as a surprise live, just because, well, not a surprise live, but a live to go over the NFL record. The NFL schedule. It comes out, it's released Thursday night. I'm severely looking forward to it. I like to see when the buys are. I like to see if we have any back-to-back home games. Me being a season ticket holder, I'm from Texas, so I travel up there to go see them. And it's the best, for me. If we play 2 games back-to-back, I'll take a week off from work. We'll go out there, we'll see 2 games, and then the other 6 we can sell. And so please hit me up. They're lower level, section 122 in the end zone. Great seats. You can see everything. It's a great experience. I've had the tickets for, this is going to be my second season that I get to go. I purchased them during COVID. Behind the Steel Curtain, Dave Schofield helped me find them. Big shout out to those guys. They kind of inspired me to not do this, but talk about the Steelers. And they talk about the Steelers a lot. And I message him every now and then during the game and whatnot. And a couple of years ago during COVID, he helped me find these tickets. And last year was my first year I got to go. Went to go see Denver and Seattle. In the beginning of the year, it was like there was a possibility it was Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson that I was going to get to go see the Steelers play against. Those things didn't happen. However, the games ended up great. The first game went down to the last play where Pierre intercepted the ball on the very last play. And then the second game, we went into overtime. And so we got our full money's worth when it came to those games, because one of them went in an extended period. Both of these games ended up with Steelers victories, down to the wire. Awesome games. And so, yeah, look forward to it. Look forward to going back to Pittsburgh this year, and look forward to seeing the Steelers win some games this year. But with that said, guys, this is State of the Steelers. Please hit that subscribe and notification button, and we'll see you tonight.